What's going on, folks? Welcome to another episode of our Penalty Talk preseason breakdowns. Today, we're breaking down the AFC South. So we got the Texans, the Jags, the Titans, and the Colts all for you today. And also, I'm joined by Chad again.
What's going on, everyone?
So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's go ahead and go right into it with the Houston Texans. So, Houston Texans last year, as you all know, um, 3-13, had the second overall pick in the NFL draft. They added Shaq Mason, Dalton Schultz, Denzel Perryman, Sheldon Rankings, and Shaquille Griffin. Departures, I couldn't really find any, but Lovey Smith is gone. Also, too, Davis Mills is back. He's going to compete with CJ Stroud. And also, well, who they drafted second. And then also, too, who they drafted third was Will Anderson.
So looking at the defense, that's the first thing that stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
They added some veterans at the D line with Sheldon Rankins and Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes is really old, but still veteran presence. It's going to help with Will Anderson and all that. And then they got some nice linebackers, in my opinion. Christian Kirksey, he's solid. Denzel Perryman, he's solid. Christian Harris, he's pretty solid. He's from Alabama. Pretty good player, in my opinion. And then they got some good players on their secondary. Shaquille Griffin, he's always been solid. Jimmy Ward, he's been solid. Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley.
Mm-hmm.
I like their defense. So it really just comes down to the offense. And obviously, CJ Stroud is young. And I've said about Bryce Young, it's going to take some time to get him into the NFL. It's going to do the same for CJ. So it really just could kind of come down to how well the quarterback and the receivers can kind of build chemistry.
I agree. Honestly. And two things with that, I asked you off camera because obviously I'm of the impression, I'm just wondering, is John Mechie going to be ready?
I think so. It's been now like a year and a half now since it's been happening. So I should be ready. I'm not a doctor though, but I'm excited to see that because he's a really good route runner, and I think he would complement Robert Woods well, who could teach him a thing or two. And then Nico Collins would kind of be their deep threat. And we know Damian Pierce did good last year. He also has Devin Singletary now with him. So I actually look at the Texans. I'm like, hey, this is not that bad, especially if the offensive line, Laramie Tunsil, he's the franchise cornerstone. And then Shaq Mason from the Bucs, he has been solid. So I look at this team. I'm actually kind of intrigued.
I agree. Also, too, this brings me to this question because I was reading about it last night on a couple of websites and everything, and they said that that a starter hasn't been named yet, of course, which makes sense. But sometimes you thrust a rookie QB into that duty, but so far that has not been the case. So I'm starting to get the impression I feel like Davis Mills may somehow magically end up starting week one. Although I really want to see CJ Stroud get the start.
He very well could. If anything, I think CJ is going to start by week 2 or 3. In my opinion, they're playing Baltimore week 1, so semi big game in my opinion. And I think bearing an injury, CJ Stroud should start. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I wouldn't throw him out there as a sacrificial lamb and baptize him by fire with Baltimore. I would rather someone not as scary.
I kind of would like that. That's just how I would feel. I don't know. Get your you don't want it to be too easy. And
yeah, and then people get these unreal expectations of him.
Someone said that. Someone said like, "Oh, this is too fast or too easy or something." It was like the NBA or something, but I don't remember who said that.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense then. But yeah, honestly, I'm looking forward to what the Texans bring.
Yeah.
It felt like if you go back to like what was it, 2016 to 2017 to like 2019, it felt like they were there with Deshaun Watson, and it felt like Deshaun Watson was gonna,
JJ Watt.
yeah, JJ Watt and DeAndre Hopkins. It felt like that team was just gonna be like the next big thing that was gonna challenge like the Patriots before the Patriots fell off, and then they were going to challenge what has now become the most powerful team in the AFC and in the NFL in general, the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought they were going to be like that team that was going to be right there on the Chiefs' ass. But with Deshaun Watson's situation happening and stuff, and the rocket never got off the launch pad.
Texans fans who are listening, sorry about this, but remember they were in the AFC Championship game. They were up 21-0. And
And
the
they
Chiefs ended up winning and beating the 49ers, I believe. That's crazy to think about. The Texans since then have not been that good, but they're starting to finally build up. So I'm excited to see what they do.
They need CJ Stroud to work out, because honestly, I feel like if Deshaun Watson, the whole situation of that played around Deshaun Watson. I felt like, because I felt like if Deshaun Watson had worked out, everything else would have been fine. Everything else was fine. So I'm really hoping that, like, if CJ Stroud works out, and if Will Anderson can anchor that newly bred defense, it's all going to take care of itself. It won't fall apart, because they set themselves back when Deshaun got in trouble.
And you got players like Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley who are only going to get better.
Absolutely. So, yeah, with that being said, we can now transition on over to the Tennessee Titans, who went 7-10 last season. They added Sean Murphy-Bunting, who left Tampa. They also got departures in Josh Lambo, who retired at kicker. Bud Dupree is gone. Taylor Lewan, that was the shocker, is gone. And Randy Bullock, who's also another kicker of theirs, he's gone as well. They drafted Will Levis. They also drafted Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern, and then also Tajay Spears. But I gotta say this: I don't know if you heard it or not, but Will Levis is having a tough time even challenging Malik Willis.
Which this is one of the craziest storylines of the offseason to me, because I've always been a part-time Titans fan. They've always been my second favorite team, so I was actually pretty surprised they drafted Will Levis when they had Malik Willis last year. And that's saying a lot to Malik Willis. That's kind of like, hey, man.
It's a slap in the face,
man. And then they also have Ryan Tannehill, too. So they're really stocking up on their QBs. Hey, maybe there's a potential trade coming. But
potential trade, or even also, to honestly, realistically, if the Bucks don't work out with either Trask or Mayfield, I'd make a move for someone like Tannehill that can just get the job done and just win games. Or honestly, maybe make a move for Malik Willis if the Titans are going to play games and be stupid.
Yeah, it's fair enough. And they also have depth at the running back position. To Jay Spears, they just drafted Hassan Haskins. They had drafted last year. But then you look at the wide receivers, and this is the worst group in the NFL, without a doubt, in my opinion. Treylon Burks is their bright spot, but other than that, it's not that intriguing. But they do have Chigozie Okonkwo, who I do like a lot. He's a great tight end, but only 2 targets, really, that are noteworthy. It really comes down to, it's going to come down to if that passing game could elevate their game, and if the offensive line can kind of elevate their game as well, because they have some rookies and second-year players in Petit Ferrer, I don't know how to say that last name, and then Skoronski.
Right. Yeah, it's just, for me, this is another team where I'm just like, they seem like they had so much potential, and then it just crashed. Because I felt like the Titans were another team that they could have just been on the launching pad to be successful. And then I think, but with them though, I don't think injuries and scandal derailed them. I think it's just they didn't stockpile their arsenal like how everybody else was doing. They slept on that, I think, and kind of relied on the pieces around.
Yeah, they haven't really drafted a super stars yet. I mean, they had AJ Brown, absolutely, but they gave him away. So now they have Jeffrey Simmons too. That's another guy they drafted, homegrown, who's really good. But other than that, I mean, their draft picks haven't really panned out. Caleb Farley they drafted in the first round. He doesn't really play. Christian Fulton, he's finally playing, and then Roger McCurry, he's finally playing. But they signed Sean Murphy-Bunting, so how confident are they? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, really, because honestly, a lot of people fell out of favor with him around here.
Yeah, so I think their bright spot is obviously the run game, Derrick Henry. And then they also have a pretty good D-line. Danico Autry and T.R. Tarter, a little bit underrated. Harold Landry, he got hurt last year. He's going to be off an injury, but Jeffrey Simmons is a really good captain to have in the defensive front. But, yeah, it's really just kind comes down to that. Jeffrey Simmons, they're definitely their best player on defense. Or Kevin Byard.
They're going to be relying on him a lot, honestly, in that defensive front this year because they don't even have – man, I was trying to find some silver lining in their secondary. They really don't.
Kevin Byard is good. I don't know how to say that name. Byard.
Kevin Byard, yeah.
Byard.
He's that lone bright spot, but honestly, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, they're all kind of
like I said, dude. They didn't stockpile the arsenal.
So yeah, the Titans are definitely questionable. I don't have them winning their division now. It's not going to happen.
Me neither, and that's perfectly fine. The next team we have the 4-12 Indianapolis Colts. So I couldn't really find much about the Colts, honestly. It's very little movement outside of the draft. So they added Brashad Perryman. They lost Frank Wright, who got fired. He's now in Carolina. And then they drafted Anthony Richardson, who I'm sure them and a lot of Florida fans are probably hoping, like, maybe this is the Florida quarterback that'll work out if Trask doesn't.
It's funny because we've talked about the Colts, the Texans, the Panthers, and the Titans now, which is where all rookie quarterbacks have gone. So I'm the guy to talk about for rookie quarterbacks. But I have the same mindset as I have of the other quarterbacks. It's going to take some time. I do think Richardson will start. I don't think he's going to start immediately. He's ultra talented.
The thing is,
you just got to get that technique down. He'll be a threat.
The thing with his situation is a lot of these other teams, they have situations where they could throw in someone experienced and not kind of like throw their guy to the wolves right away. That's not the case with the Colts. The Colts kind of have to put Anthony Richardson out there because he's like probably the most talented coming out the gate. Like the minute they go into fall camp, he's going to have to take those reps with the ones.
They're definitely going to make it easy on him. They did so many checkdowns to Michael Pittman last year. As a fantasy owner, I would know. Alec Pierce he did pretty good. He did solid last year. So and then Josh Downs they drafted, and then Jelani Woods they drafted last year. So they have some young weapons. All of their offensive weapons are relatively young, and then their O-line has been steady for the past couple of years. Quentin Nelson's good. Ryan Kelly's good. It's a steady team. It really does come down to the quarterback play.
Yes. Because, well, they also have T.Y. Hilton still. So, I mean, he's got a little bit of help.
Man, that's crazy. And, yeah, last year it really came down to their play calling and Matt Ryan. He wasn't really able to get much done. So, it came down to their quarterback play last year. I'm going to say the same this year.
Yeah, dude, honestly, Matt Ryan, I'm beginning to notice a trend here. I don't know if you are too. I'm going to say that because we're on the topic of the Colts, I'm going to say this about Matt Ryan. If you notice, choking necessarily, while it is a Falcons thing, it's even more so a Matt Ryan thing.
Man, Matt Ryan's a great guy. I've met him before, but it's true. I mean, he used to have I mean, I've been in the same room as him, but
that's still impressive.
He used to be really clutch at first, so that's why they called him Matty Ice. But now it's Matty Ice in a cold way. Not good.
Dang, that's wild though. I did not know that you were in the same room.
Yeah, during a press conference.
Okay, I'm jealous, but okay.
And then you look at the Colts defense. It's nothing much other than DeForest Buckner and Shaquille Leonard. Yeah. Kenny Moore also is pretty good, but a lot of these guys are relatively young and kind of have been career backup guys or stuff like that. Grover Stewart, I must say, had a good year last year, so that's good. But their defensive tackle and their middle linebacker are their main bright spots.
That ain't gonna get it done, man.
Yeah, especially when you have Derrick Henry and you got the Jags. But I don't think the Colts are gonna get last. They might. Sorry, Colts fans. They might. They may or may not. We'll see what happens We'll see what happens when I predict it at the end.
I feel that. And that's going to bring us on to the defending division champs, the team that honestly I think we can both say should take this division if they don't, something's terribly wrong in 2023, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So last season they went 9-8. They were division champs. They added Calvin Ridley last year midseason. He didn't really play because of his year-long suspension. They added Brandon McManus at kicker. They lost Shaquille Griffin, although I kind of figured that because I felt they should have gotten a more experienced defensive back to kind of help take that secondary over the top. They drafted Anton Harrison and Ventrell Miller out of Florida.
Yeah, those are some pretty good draft picks. I really agree with you when you say this is the Jaguars division. There'd be something crazy to happen for them not to win the division, but I really like what you said about the CBs. Tyson Campbell really grew into his own last year. He's from Georgia. I think he's going to do just as good this year. Andre Cisco, he's also did pretty good for a second or third round draft pick. It was a third round draft pick.
Mm-hmm. And then they still have Caleb on Chase on, still from LSU. They still got their first round pick from last year as well. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He went to Georgia. He was an edge rusher.
Oh, Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, they got Trayvon Walker too. So I mean, like they have the pieces. They absolutely have the pieces. So he's having a little bit of technical difficulties there with his pet.
Yeah, I got the vacuum. It was making too much noise.
You're good, man.
But yeah, back to the Jaguars. We were talking about Trayvon Walker. He did pretty solid last year. He didn't really get many sack numbers, but he did get a lot of pressures and stuff. He only had 3.5 sacks, but we did see him kind of get it grow into his own. Devin Lloyd also, and then Josh Allen. Those are all solid players. I'm not going to know how to say this guy's name, but it's like Fosaidi Olakon. He led the NFL in tackles last year. Who would have thought?
When you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, the Jaguars actually have probably one of the more scary fronts in football.
Yeah, it's a little underrated for sure.
It really is because and the crazy thing is, it's like, you think back to 2017, it was like that was the year I thought that they were supposed to get there and play Philly. Like, better days are coming for Jacksonville. And then you got to factor in too, I don't know if you've seen the blueprint for it, but they're getting a new stadium.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
Yeah, like if you haven't looked at that thing yet, like I highly recommend it. Yeah, like let me see if I can screen share it actually. But dude, it's pretty beautiful.
I think Calvin Ridley is going to do good this year. I mean, he's definitely been rusty, but I think he's worth a flyer in fantasy. Christian Kirk is obviously good. Zay Jones is obviously good. Trevor Lawrence doesn't really he kind of shares the ball really well, so maybe not in fantasy, but I do think Calvin Ridley was going to come back and do pretty good. Evan Ingram is also good, so it's a good offense for sure. And then they are only going to get better after their comeback from the Chargers in the playoffs and what they were able to do to the Chiefs, or the Bengals. I forgot what team it was. I like Travis Etienne. They have Tank Bigsby now. Definitely a team to watch, but without a doubt, they're taking the division.
That part. Actually, I'm going to try to share this on the screen. So let's see if I can do it. If I can. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Share screen. There we go. All right, right there. So yeah, do you see that?
It's loading.
Loading. Okay.
Oh, there.
Yeah. See, so that is going to be the new Jaguar Stadium right there on the St. Johns River.
That's awesome, man. They're doing all of that new Rams look for the new stadiums. They're kind of having.
Yes, I've noticed that. Even the Titans are getting this look too. Like the Titans won't look this cool, but it's gonna look somewhat like the Rams blueprint. But yeah, like honestly, dude, like there's been a lot of talk about maybe moving the Florida-Georgia game out of Jacksonville. I think Florida-Georgia needs to stick around.
Yeah, that's a nice stadium for sure.
That is definitely
right on the river.
Facts. Like, and then it's supposed to also bring like a financial, economical impact to that area of Duval County and everything too. So, look, that's beautiful, man.
Sounds good to me.
Honestly, same. Did I turn off my screen share?
Yeah, you did. So let's get into our predictions.
Yes, let's do it. So
let's look at their schedules real quick. You see the Texans, they start off with Baltimore, then Indianapolis, and then they have a couple divisions, and they have Pittsburgh. They play Cincinnati eventually. That's their hardest game. It's not that bad of a schedule for the Texans. And like I said earlier, I was thinking they were intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, I'm going to put the Texans at number 2 into this division. I think they're going to have a surprising year. Dameon Pierce did good last year, and really no one else was there to help him. I think this is going to change this year.
Facts. So Dameon Pierce almost had a 1,000-yard season, 939 yards rushing.
Oh, he did it? Oh, well.
But yeah, so honestly, I like it too. Wouldn't even surprise me either if, regular season, preseason. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm seeing this now. Okay. My bad. I have, because weird thing with mine is like I have it set to where like every Bucks game on the ESPN app goes to like the top right away.
They're going to play the Bucks, the Texans.
Yeah, they get them in Houston.
I wonder how that's going to go.
It's always the ones with the Bucks that you expect them to win, and then like next thing you know, like, Texans go in there and just like beat the crap out of them.
So all of these teams that we were talking about are all playing each other, the NFC and the AFC South. So, and they're all kind of like relatively same level, except for like the Jaguars. They're above all of them.
Yes.
So all of those games are going to be relatively close. You got they're going to be playing Miami. That's probably the hardest game for the Titans. Miami or the Chargers or Cincinnati. It's one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Titans have a tough schedule, so I'm going to put the Titans at. Let me just see how the Colts are real quick.
You know what's crazy about the Colts? The Colts have not beaten the Jaguars in Jacksonville since Peyton Manning.
Man, that's so crazy. Yeah, so that's not going to happen this year.
Oh, no, not at all.
Now it's going to happen.
The Jags sweep them this year, honestly. I really do. But you said you're also looking at the Colts schedule right now?
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the Colts schedule. I guess.
So
I'm going to go Titans third, Colts last. I like Brian or Mike or whatever his name is, Vrabel. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna.
That sounds.
He's able to always do good with not a lot, and it might be the case this year too. So, Colts 4, Titans 3, Texans 2, Jacksonville number 1.
Yep, that's accurate because that's definitely the way I'm looking at it too. Because I think Anthony Richardson needs more help.
Yeah, he's not gonna get immediately.
Yeah, it's not,
especially because he doesn't even didn't have like a lot of technique coming into the season anyway. It was just like all talent, so it would take some time.
It will, and that's the part that oh my gosh, who's their coach even? Jeez. Who is their coach? Oh my goodness.
It's wait, hold on, I'm thinking. Oh, it's the new guy from the Eagles. His name is like Shane Steichen.
Oh, Shane. Yeah, see, so
yeah, it's his first year too. So
yeah, so you have a first-year head coach. You have a first-year head coach. You got a rookie quarterback. Like, dude, that's tough. You're already in a tough spot.
He is used to playing with like a talented quarterback in Jalen Hurts, but
so maybe he can work to his strengths and everything, honestly, but that's a tough ask. But the Titans, I feel like the Titans running game will help them win a couple games and keep them ahead of the the Colts. Then of course you have the Texans. I think they got the talent there, the depth is there and everything. DeMeco Ryans first year head coach.
Like that.
He's more experienced, honestly, than who the Colts have. He's got more to work with than the Colts as far as the defense and the offense goes. So I definitely do think that they finished second. And then honestly, Jacksonville, I'm just going to be real with you. If Jacksonville doesn't finish in first, they squandered this. They should not honestly struggle and limp to the playoffs or fight for the last wild card spot. They should be straight away a lock. One of the first teams to lock up their division this year. They should
have at least 10 wins.
That part.
Or 9. And they should have 10.
I'd say 11 or 12. 11. I'm going to be generous and say 11.
All right, fine.
11-6. That makes more sense. But yeah, folks, that's going to do it for us on this episode as well. We appreciate you. Keep an eye out for more videos dropping throughout the week. As always, we hope you've enjoyed this video as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. And with that being said, I'm JPeeps. That's my boy Chad right there. Keep it locked. College football season coming up. We're all going to be still making picks and everything and whatnot. Also, too, if you're ever in the Tampa Bay area and you go to the Rays game over at the Trop, check out your boy Chad.
I will be there. I will be there for sure.
I don't know where he's at, but I know one thing though.
I'm all over.
Yeah, that part, because I forever am always looking for him whenever I go to Rays games. But yeah. But yeah, folks, that's gonna do it for us. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay blessed.
Absolutely.
On the next episode.